What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here. Pre-Bilbao Tottenham update. Brian Daigle joining me. Ben is already en route to Bilbao ahead of the massive game on Wednesday. Brian, your nerves starting to settle in yet? It's such a big game. So many people have been looking forward to this day, and hopefully it'll be a momentous day for us on Wednesday. But how are you feeling at the moment?
Man, you said that. I was about to say when you said, how are you? I don't know what it was today, but I started watching Tottenham-related stuff, whether it be YouTube content or TalkSport or Sky, whatever. And yeah, for some reason, today is the day where the nerves have officially kicked in. Butterflies in the stomach, and just hoping the next 48 hours just fly by.
How are you looking? How are you going to prepare for this game mentally? What any mental preparations you're going to go through? Any superstitions?
Yeah, I'll probably do what I normally do before we play the filth. I'll start watching Spurs European Glory nights and matches from before and interviews and highlights all the way back from the 80s, all the way up to now. And it'll probably be a very, very little sleep Tuesday night, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, I think so. I jet off tomorrow morning. Flight's at 9 a.m. from Luton. Got a 2-hour stopover in Malaga. And then off to Bilbao, arriving around 4 p.m. and let the festivities begin from that point. Right. So very much looking forward to it. Talking about jetting off to Bilbao, the Tottenham players are just been videoed jetting off to Bilbao, including a certain man who's most likely ruled out for the final. But let's take a look at this video of the Tottenham players getting on the coach. This is what Spurs put out there. You see Mickey van der Ven. Tottenham, a lot of praise for this tracksuit in the head of the Bilbao final, and in the video. Where is he? I think he pops up at some point. There's Will Lancashire, Mikey Moore getting ready to travel. Antonin Kinski, who obviously can't play. Scarlett, who's had his surgery, he can't play. Matisse Tell, Richarlison giving a fist bump. And there's James Maddison with his pillow, fully kitted up, ready to go to Bilbao. Brendan Johnson, no sign of Lucas Bergvall, which everyone's definitely got their eyes peeled for. Maybe it's just a case of he hasn't been videoed. I remember Richarlison wasn't videoed before the Bodo game, but he ended up starting. But those are the Tottenham players jetting off to Bilbao, getting ready for the massive game on Wednesday. But Brian, Maddison being there on the coach with his pillow, fully tracked up. Anything we can read into that, do you think? Is there any chance of miracles being pulled off?
No, I don't think there is. But first of all, his pillow, you got to love, he takes his pillow with him everywhere. Lucas Bergvall was definitely on that bus, probably sitting there whilst he was being filmed.
Maybe they kept him off on purpose. Maybe they purposefully didn't show him.
I have to say, and I'm going to praise Spurs here, it's a wonderful touch from them that players like Lancashire, and they're literally, I think they've taken the whole playing staff. And obviously Lancashire's just come back from West Brom. And apparently all the playing staff are going there, whether they've made an appearance or not, to be a part with the team and be with the lads. And I think that's a remarkable and incredible touch from Tottenham Hotspur. And it's wonderful to see. And yeah, that T-shirt tracksuit is absolutely banging.
A nice little cup final tracksuit. And it's very different to the Man United approach, where I think a lot of the staff have to pay their own way to get to the game, or Amorim has laid out for a lot of the staff to go, which surely doesn't probably leave a good taste in their mouth ahead of the final, I'd say.
Oh, correct. I mean, I remember the 91 FA Cup final when Scazza and Lineker and co wearing the Spurs tracksuits. So maybe it's another good omen that they've got in the tracksuits. But yeah, like I said, there does seem to be complications with Man U and sorting out travel for the players. And Amorim picking up the tab, but it's a wonderful thing from Tottenham Hotspur. So fair play and credit to them for doing it all as one.
And looking forward to the footage of them getting out to Bilbao, getting on the training pitch and getting ready for that final, which I'm sure we'll get in then over the next 24 hours or so. But yeah, let's hope all the travel plans go as expected. Tom Barkley has been writing an article about Tottenham, about the future of Tottenham, what happens next season, and he's writing on the future of Ange Postecoglou, saying Ange Postecoglou is expected to leave Tottenham after the season, regardless of the outcome of the Europa League final. Obviously, we've had a lot of talk about it, haven't we, in the lead up to this game, and this future, obviously, given our league form, has been the subject of much speculation. Tom Barkley seems pretty certain he's going to leave regardless. Most other, I think Matt Law said his future is definitely uncertain regardless. But, is that fair? Should it, is it fair that his future, given the clamour surrounding a trophy around this football club and how much we focus on it and how much we talk about it as fans constantly, would he, if him delivering our first major European trophy in 40 years and then he's leaving regardless, is that fair?
Whether it's fair or not is, I don't know if that's the right word, but what I will say, and we've seen it before, where managers have won a trophy at respective clubs, been given a window, hasn't worked out, and they've bit the bullet and sacked them, and then it's like the window for that manager has been a waste. And obviously, you've probably ruled out a lot of managers that you were looking at to try and get it in. I mean, it works out. If he ends up with a trophy for Spurs, I'll be eternally grateful for him. I think, as all Spurs fans will be, whether you want him to stay or not. But it's either go like that and go down in history as bringing the silverware to Tottenham Hotspur, or you just go. And I think the time will be, especially with the league form, you cannot justify this league form. I think it would be time to go, but it's whether we're eternally grateful or the season has just been a complete blowout, and definitely the right move to make. So I get if he wins the trophy, oh my God, Spurs have hardly. I get that understanding and where people are coming from, but I just think longer down the road, if we were to do it and the transfer window and the start of next season goes tits up, we have missed a major opportunity to really strengthen and get the right man and the right players in the summer.
I hear that, and obviously the 17th, whatever the situation, a lot of fans will not be able to accept that and will not be able to kind of see how in any way that's acceptable to be for a club like Tottenham to be finishing 17th. But do you not feel that if we were to win this trophy, with all the rhetoric he's been saying during the season, how injuries have impacted us, and when we get our team back, we'll be a better team. And once he gets his team back, he wins a European trophy. If he does on Wednesday, would that not be any sort of indication for a lot of excuses he's had?
What I'll say with the injuries is 5 points out the last 33, and the players have been back. That isn't acceptable. Yes, you can say we have focused more on Europe, but with this squad we have assembled, you would expect more from the players we've had. We've all spoken about this and said, do you know what? This team is better than 17th. One thing I will say with Levy when it comes to this manager is we can't say he hasn't given him money. He's had more money than Poch, Conte, Jose, all of them had, and we seem to have regressed. So his talent ID, the players we've been bringing in have not worked. And that's not just Ange, that's the whole club. And I wouldn't trust him with the money. I know Paratici and Vinay are coming in, but apparently them two don't want him either. So we can't really go on about the money not being spent, because it has. The wage bill is the major issue. We all know that. I just can't see with these excuses. Well, you got to remember, back in the time with all these other managers, we've had injury issues. Maybe not to this extent, but I do remember periods from since I've been supporting them where we have had injury issues and subpar squads, and they've managed to do better. So
if he wins a trophy, could you make that argument?
Then you've got an argument, obviously, for silverware, league position, which is bread and butter. Not so much. So I get where you're coming from with the trophy. Listen, we all know how important this trophy is and what it means to Tottenham Hotspur. I just don't see it being able to get better under him, unfortunately.
Do you feel like, taking away the Tottenham element, just Ange himself, let's say he which the likelihood is he will probably leave at the end of the season, regardless if he wins. If he won that trophy, right, and then the narrative for him in his career he came from all these different places winning trophies, right?
Yep.
Japan and Australia and Scotland. He went to, winning trophies. That's how he got the job at Tottenham. And now he's come to Tottenham and broken their 17-year trophy drought, won their first European trophy in 40 years. When he came to England. Do you think that adds to his story in a sense that following on from Tottenham, he won't have there will be some clubs looking at him and giving him opportunities off the back of that? That basically his story kind of continues off the back of that trophy win, or do you think his reputation's been hampered just by the league form?
I think it's a bit of both. But do you know what? Winning that trophy will certainly be another a massive. And a lot of the people have said, obviously, and it looks at it with his career in Celtic, Europe has been a big problem for him. And if he does win it, it's like, I've overcome Europe and I've won the second biggest trophy. So that can only enhance his CV, can't it? Mm-hmm. Maybe for a future club, maybe it's a club that are able to get into Europe. And that will be, I think we had the standards of trying to compete at the top again, regularly get Champions League and compete in Champions League. Do I think Ange is at that level yet? I don't think he is right now. But maybe a team with lower targets and to build on, he could be a success. I really do. But it's obviously not going to work at Tottenham.
Yeah, I think if he does win that trophy, I think his reputation gets really enhanced, in my opinion. Because I think all the narrative surrounding him about he always wins a trophy in his second season. He always gets young teams and builds them up and gets them to win things. And the whole narrative, before this Europa League run and going to the finals, he's out of his depth. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's clueless at this level. And then he can bat all that way, saying, "Here's a trophy. Here's a major European trophy. I've won. I went to a team." Right, that hadn't won a trophy in 17 years. I told them I always win something in my second season. Right, basically Mourinho-esque, I'm the special one. He put his balls on the table and said, "I'm going to say this at a team that never wins anything," and he's going to win. And if he wins something, I think that feeds into kind of his narrative as a manager. And I think future teams looking at him will be like, well, he went to Tottenham, he finished fifth in his first season, he won a major European trophy in his second. That's how they'll look at it. And I think a lot of times, I think we kind of see, a lot of Tottenham fans see it as, yeah, but look how bad we have been in the league. It's going to be our most worst disastrous season in the league. But when you look at it on the face of, as just, if he leaves at the end of the season, over 2 seasons, a 5th place finish in his first, and then a major European trophy in your second. Not many Tottenham managers you could say have done better than that over 2 seasons. If you look at the best of what he's done.
I can say, Sim, I remember a time before we played Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. You did one of your push the buttons with me. You got 2 buttons.
2 buttons.
You got 2. We love that. We love that. We love the 2 buttons. Back. But you and I, so this is the kind of the standards we're talking about, because when we're talking about Ten Hag was at United, won the Carabao Cup and got Champions League, and then won the FA Cup, and obviously got Europa League through it, and he got sacked, and he went down as one of their worst managers, whereas he'd go down as our greatest in recent history with that kind of thing. And now we are 5th in one season, 17th potentially, and Europa League. He goes down as one of our greatest managers in modern history. So as well as it enhances his CV and will keep his I win in my second year stat, that's the kind of levels we're at, isn't it? The difference of where we are. I will be.
That is who we are. That's who we are, isn't it? That's who we are as a club.
Exactly. That's what we got to look at. And like we said, I will be, as a person that no longer wants Ange Postecoglou at this club, and like I said, I stayed in for a long time and turned on my first manager ever after the North London derby in January. I will be eternally grateful for him, and I'll never forget the moment, and he will go down as one of few Spurs managers that have got the job over the line, and that's how he will always be remembered by me. Not the league position, whatever, it will be well done. You got us a trophy, but time to say goodbye. You go on to pastures new, and Spurs start again.
Talking about going on to pastures new, Fabio Paratici is set for an imminent return to Tottenham as director of football this summer, according to Tom Barkley. He also says that Paratici will have an influence on who the next manager is, provided that Ange does depart as expected. The Italian manager Francesco Farioli is set to be in the frame to be the next Spurs manager, alongside Marco Silva, Iraola, and Glasner on the shortlist. But before we talk managers, just Fabio's return. Is that something that excites you? Do you think that's something that's needed?
Yes, I do. I do realise that obviously he had some transfers that were amiss, but we need a guy with his standing in the game, his knowledge, maybe working alongside Vinay. And I saw something today on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, where we were looking at a player. I can't remember who it is. I don't know if you were going to talk about it, you've seen it, but apparently he's talking to Gabonini again.
The scout.
Yeah, and I think he's integral as well. If he could come back in any way as well, that would be phenomenal. I can't remember what the link was. If I can find it, I'll send it to you later, Sim. But I do think we do need, with all the ban out the way, he's got a clear run of this, obviously, until maybe something comes up down the line. He is a director of football that has incredible knowledge, that has incredible reach, and it's what we need right now. We need, especially if we're not in Europe, don't we, Sim? We need to find those players that he brought in at the kind of Kulusevski and Bentancur price range, or these gems that he knows and can spot, and turn them in to great assets to the football club. So very, very excited about the prospect of Paratici coming back.
I think Fabio was clearly showed when he was here, he was able to get things done, and he was able to get deals over the line, have a vast amount of knowledge throughout the game and contacts, and if we needed something, he always had something up his sleeve. But are we not also maybe guilty of looking through him through a bit of rose-tinted glasses? Because is it fair to say things weren't exactly going great when he was here? It's not like we were, like a lot of people say, we weren't even going in the right direction when he was last here. So and also the manager picks he had lined up were awful, really. I mean, obviously he got Conte over the line, but that manager search, he was before, when Conte rejected us, he was obviously our director of football, and that summer was one of the most disastrous managerial searches we probably ever had, in terms of who we were going for, and who people kept rejecting us, and we nearly got Gattuso in when Fonseca pulled out last minute, and we ended up with Nuno, who obviously turns out is a very good manager, but so maybe it was right manager, wrong time. But given how it kind of went when he was last here, are we like to think he's going to turn the ship around? Are we thinking, is that maybe not realistic?
Joe, it's a very fair comment, in all honesty. It's a very, very fair comment, because it's the other side of the coin, isn't it? We can all talk about the players he brought in that did well, and Matt Conte, but there are other sides to it. But I think something that goes under the radar, not spoken about enough when you say him, is he started turning behind the scenes around, didn't he? He started sorting out higher wages for the youth players and the prospects. He really did have a blueprint to rip everything apart and start rebuilding it. And some of that, I think, was more impressive than what he did on the pitch. Hopefully, with a longer stint, it'll bear fruit, and we'll see. But I will say what you just said, Simon, is a very, very fair comment. But if you look at the directors of football that are available, I don't think we could get better. The only one I would say I would love to see back, obviously, is Paul Mitchell, but we know that's not going to happen in a million years. But if Paratici comes in with Vinay, and we are led to believe that they are going to have, and we've heard this before, so we'll have to wait and see, they will have final say on all things football related, then we may see a different side of it. But what the stuff you just brought up, totally fair, and very, very, very fair point.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here saying I don't think he's a good director of football. I do, and I think he's clearly, throughout his career, has proven his worth at other clubs, and even at times at Tottenham. I just feel, obviously, when he was at Juve before, when his task was basically keep this team winning the league every season, where at Tottenham it's like his task was to revolutionise the club, get them acting like a big club, and I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe we need a manager who's kind of more, not a manager, director of football, I mean, who's more kind of not willing to work within the parameters, because I think Fabio is, but it's more used to working in those kind of parameters, you know what I mean? Finding little gems for good prices and people who undervalue markets. I think maybe Fabio's kind of more kind of geared to keeping a team at the top rather than getting them there. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm not saying that he's I think he's a great director of football. Maybe he will still be good, but I don't look at Fabio returning and saying, oh God, we're back kind of thing, because we were never there when he was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that I get. But what I will say, I mean, to summarize it, is if you said to me right now, going into the next season, you could have Fabio Paratici or Johan Lan, then let's face it, it's not even take me a second to think about it. We've seen how bad Lang's been. And Paratici, hopefully, like we said, with Vinay. And I think what Vinay has been doing with fan engagement already behind the scenes, you can clearly see a difference. There is a bit more input being taken on board. So we can only hope, but we just need to go in a new direction, I feel.
And talking about, he said Fabio is going to have an influence on the manager who we appoint. He said Francesco Farioli is in the frame, and he's the manager who just bottled a 9-point lead with 5 games to go for Ajax. And apparently as well, he's quite a pragmatic manager, which is something I think Fabio likes. I think Fabio likes pragmatic managers. So I don't know, how do you feel about that kind of appointment?
I'm going to be honest, I didn't know who he was until halfway through the season, so I haven't watched a lot of Ajax, don't know a lot about him, but it is convenient that all of a sudden he's available, and he
Italian manager as well
comes into the fray. So obviously Ajax had a commanding lead, and obviously they've blown it. It's not the best. But we'll have to see if that develops. I'm more concerned, obviously, the number one pick that I don't know if you've seen about Glasner. Parish has said guaranteed he's at Palace next season.
Yeah, and he would have been my favourite out of all those managers. Silvia, Raul, and Glasner. I do think Glasner's probably the superior manager.
Yeah, I mean, we all know when Parish says something like this, he don't mess about. It's going to be nigh on impossible unless Glasner walks out. I'm disappointed Frank won't. I don't know if Frank's dropped out the race or whatever, because his name was not linked in that tweet, was it? But we're going to have to see. But this does sound like Paratici's work, doesn't it? A load of people targeted, and then the spinning plates start whittling down. So we'll have to wait and see. But what's your thoughts on the Ajax manager?
Yeah, I mean, before this Ajax job, I mean, he was at Nice, didn't pull up many trees there, but he was good, but it wasn't incredible. And then Ajax, he's been hailed for a lot of the season as doing a phenomenal job, because I think Ajax finished 5th last year, and he's got them basically top of the league, and but very pragmatic. They concede. I think they got the best defense in Eredivisie, and they're quite a pragmatic team. They're more similar to they're a team that it's not pragmatic, but it's they kind of rely on the opposition. They kind of they draw the opposition in and then kind of pounce on them rather than going at teams. So I don't know how much it'll probably translate not bad to the Premier League, to be fair, but there will be games where we'll be frustrated because we'll be just waiting there, waiting to do something. We're waiting for the opposition to press and move, and I think I can see a lot of Tottenham fans getting frustrated with that, especially if it's not good. I think it's maybe a bit too defensive for us, but I don't know. But I really like Glasner. But obviously the fact that he's bottled a 9-point lead with 5 games to go is you can say it's perfect for Tottenham off the back of that, but or you can say it's not probably maybe the right time. I don't know, but I've seen a lot of people saying talk him up, saying because he's a young manager as well. He's 36 or something, so maybe he's a guy who's early on in his career, on the up kind of thing. But one's interesting as well was Nathan Clark, who's a guy from the Extra Inch. He does a lot of his analysis on managers and stuff, and he was analysing that list of managers, and he said they're all wildly different approaches. So what that tells him more than anything is the lack of kind of kind of not philosophy, but the lack of thinking from the higher ups in terms of what direction they want to go. He says when he looks at that list, he said when he looks at that list of managers, it seems to me that they don't know what they want.
Who would have thought? Back from the days of that Aston Villa programme during COVID, we're going to play the Tottenham way. We're going to get aggressive attacking managers, and now they haven't got a clue. One thing I will say again, and I'm going to have this kind of approach to the manager as well when they come in, or should they come in. We people have laughed as a Spurs fan base when Arne Slot was linked. Oh, he's from Holland. What does he know? Look what he's gone and done. Glasner, when we've been linked with him before, yeah, he's been in the Farmers League. What do we know? So do you know what? I'm going to be a little bit more, even with this Ajax manager. It may be he blew a 9-point lead, but we keep thinking that these super managers are going to come in and be able to work Levy and things turn out right. So I am going to be a little bit more, okay, whoever comes in, let's see what they got, because we can't keep turning our noses down and going, oh, yeah, they're not good enough. They've managed only in this league. I mean, obviously, you've got Ange Postecoglou. You can talk about it on the other side. But we've spoken about managers that are doing very, very well, like Glasner, like Slot, that have done it in very, very short times. Mm-hmm. And who knows, the next manager could do exactly the same at Spurs.
Talking about some player quotes ahead of the final Wednesday, Mickey van der Ven has been speaking to British GQ, and he's got some interesting quotes ahead of the final. He said, talking about joining Tottenham, he says, if you join Tottenham, people make jokes that you're never going to win a trophy. This group of players and staff want to make sure we change this for the fans and the club, which is something we've heard a lot from players this season about how desperate they are to break that trophy drought. It seems to be like that has been at the forefront of all the players' minds at the beginning of the season. Like, that trophy drought has to be broken. Like, because I remember they interviewed quite a few players at the beginning of the season. I think Brennan and I think maybe Vicario as well. They asked them, "What's your kind of goal this season?" And they all said, "Win a trophy." That was all they all said, which is quite interesting when a lot of the time it's been like get top 4 and all that kind of stuff, but that trophy's very much been in the front of their minds. He also asked on whether Daniel Levy has given them a gift to the squad ahead of the final, as he did in 2019. He said in 2019 they were second, so it's now up to us to make sure that we come first, and then we can see what might happen. So it looks like no final gift this time. Europa League finalists.
Or no comment. Or no comment.
No comment. He was also talking about Ange Postecoglou. He says, we want to win for the gaffer, of course. Everyone knows he said he always wins in his second season. It's a nice quote for him, and it would make it even more beautiful if we can make it happen again. He has been so positive the whole season and made sure that no one ever let their heads down. And if we played a terrible game, he never had a feeling that he was giving up on us. He always kept pushing us. That's why at the end of a tough season, we still believe we will win. And he also revealed that Romero, Bentancur and Richarlison have organised a barbecue which took place at Hotspur Way yesterday after Ange underlined that he wanted the team to spend a day together ahead of travelling to Bilbao. Is it a goodbye barbecue?
Who knows? But I will say I can just envisage now at Hotspur Way there is probably a clipboard of template answers for finals, and they probably have to get it out and blow the cobwebs off it and everything and said, right, question answered. This is possible answers. Because like you said, it's just very, very. We've heard it before, haven't we? We've heard it all before when we got to finals. But yeah, it's lovely to see that and hear that the last night or last day they wanted to spend some time together. Obviously, they were all stayed at Hotspur Way, and I remember seeing this barbecue or something. Do you remember when they gave Jan Vertonghen and others the gifts at the end of the All or Nothing documentary? Well, they gave them the watches, funnily enough. And yeah, so it's not, the team bonding is what they need right now, isn't it? 100%. And it looks like if it's all the players that were with them there, the youngsters and everything, it's all about unity and togetherness, and I'm all for that. So hopefully these things, whether it's a goodbye or good luck or let's do this, let's just hope we don't. Can you imagine if we have our own lasagna gate from our own players?
Oh my God.
BBQ gate.
No, someone undercooked the chicken.
Yeah. Oh, gee, could you imagine? But no, it's nice to hear that these things are being done. It's the stuff you want to hear.
He says they want to win the game for the gaffer. Do you still think is that true? Or they just say, is that just lip service? Do you think?
Bit of both. I would say bit of both. But listen, they all want to win this togetherness, whether Ange is going or not. They're not going to say, yeah, we're going to do this in spite of the gap. They're not going to say anything other, are they? But I believe some of them, or a majority of them, will be doing it for Ange, whether it's to say, thanks, Gaffer, here we go, I know you're off, or we're all behind you, let's show them up.
Yeah, but it's fairly. I mean, it's fairly impressive in a way. The fact that the results have been so bad, and usually when the results are this bad, the players do start to turn on the manager. There's no kind of hiding place for it. I can't remember ever results being this bad and the players kind of have the gaffer still on side. You know what I mean? Usually they do turn. So the fact that they haven't really seemed to have done that on Ange is pretty good, I guess.
So whatever has done it, fair play to the club. Whatever has done it, to keep the unity within the team and nothing getting out really, apart from obviously the Romero comments, another thing. Well done to the club. Well done for keeping that unity and for making sure that we go to Bilbao all together as one and on a high, like mentally and everything, not form-wise or anything.
Last but not least, we're going to talk about Luka Vuskovic as he has received his first call-up to the Croatia national team, first team, for the first time in his career, 18 years of age. He's obviously had caps at under-21 level, and he's had a fantastic season at Westerlo. So congratulations to him. And he's also quoted as saying he doesn't know what's going to happen next season. He's saying that with the centre-backs Tottenham have, he might need to go out on loan because he doesn't know if he gets in the team. But what's your gut feeling telling you about next season and him?
I think it's a massive pre-season for him. Massive pre-season for him. Also, I mean, I think we all would assume or confirm that Romero is off. And then it's right, how many centre backs are we keeping, or is one coming in, which I don't personally think will, because of Danso, Davies, Vuskovic, Dorrington, Phillips. I think maybe another loan for him, unless he has an incredible pre-season. Obviously, he's a huge physical presence, so he's not going to have to get up to get in the gym or anything to enhance himself or make himself strong for the toughness of the Premier League. But maybe another loan within England will be great for him. For maybe even for 6 months, send him to the Championship for 6 months and bring him back. But I expect big things from Vuskovic. I think Spurs, again, have done well in getting this guy over the line super quick. And it is a huge pre-season for him. But congratulations for him for getting his call up. I know I was keeping an eye on Westerlo's last game because a certain Alfie Devine was on the score sheet. He was an unused sub. Or last time I saw he was an unused sub after about 80 minutes. But he, like you said, he has had a commanding season in that league, and people like him. I'll tell you what, the two players that we've had at the same club as in Orient and Westerlo, they're coming back with incredible loans from clubs as well as Abbott at Notts County. So for once, most of our loans have been a big hit, and hopefully they'll come back and show how much they've progressed pre-season. And there's some big decisions to make.
Yeah, I think even if it's doesn't have to necessarily be in England, although preferably it would be, but a loan deal to like just one of the top leagues, see how he performs at a higher level. Obviously, Belgian league is only the Belgian league. As much as it's doing that 18 and being one of the best centre backs in the whole league at that age is very impressive, and score the amount of goals he has as well, and being so aerially dominant at that age, I think shows so much potential and promise. But I think just get him a loan deal at a top league, see how he's performing. I mean, I hate to use that comparison, but you see what Arsenal did with Saliba. I think they sent him on loan for 3 years, didn't they? Before they brought him back and got him just playing at a high level consistently before he was ready to play for Arsenal. Maybe that's something we're going to have to do for Vuskovic, unless we're going to give him the game time required to get him up to speed. But is he ready now to be our starting centre-back at this age? It's hard to say he is. So I think, obviously, look, if he comes back in pre-season and he just wows everyone and, okay, he's ready, sometimes you're just ready at that age, and you just got to give him a go. But if he's not quite there, if you see potential but he's just not quite ready to start, just send him on loan to one of the top leagues. And
I think personally as well, when we think about it, Sim, and I'm a huge fan of Ashley Phillips. A huge fan of Ashley Phillips. I think for his loans, obviously at Plymouth, and then the loan at Stoke, where he has played regular minutes in a very, very competitive league, I would like personally to see if we were to keep one of the youngsters at the club, I would prefer it to be Ashley Phillips because of the experience and everything. But we shall see how his pre-season goes. But in Phillips and Vuskovic, we have two very, very commanding centre-backs coming through. And it is very, very good to see for Tottenham Hotspur.
All right. Well, Brian, big up to you. Thank you for joining me for today's Tottenham update. Massive, massive game on Wednesday.
Yep.
All gearing up to it. Best of luck in terms of when watching it, and hopefully no one bashes into your face or anything. Hopefully everything ends up well. But let's hope we bring home that trophy, Brian. I'm off to Bilbao as of tomorrow morning. So next time you see me, I'll be in sunny Spain.
Not only that, brother, I will say, because I phoned you this morning, you could be having the greatest week of your life, because obviously Wednesday the final, should we win, the next day is a certain Simeone's birthday. The next day would be the open top bus parade, and then it's a bank holiday weekend. I mean, that could be the wildest and greatest 6 days.
Carlsberg did a week.
Oh my good God, I hope it all comes true. Like I said to you earlier, probably won't be able to get hold of you Thursday, so I'm wishing you a very, very happy birthday in advance. And let's hope we are all celebrating Simeon's birthday together with a European trophy to boot.
Come on, let's go. Big up to you, Brian. We'll see you all very, very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.